This is not just a drama. This is the game show that changed the world of entertainment. This is a story that tells us about a real-life concentration camp in South Korea, a place where real-life orphans were forcibly brought in, where they were made to work beyond their strength, used for the entertainment of the rich, just like in Squid Game. And even a small mistake in the work would lead to brutal torture of the workers. Once again, welcome to another interesting video. Support us so we can continue our research, uncover new secrets of the world, and bring those secrets to you with ease. This is the drama whose first season became the most viewed game show in history.
Squid Game is not like anything else on television. Think Hunger Games meets Parasite, a gory dystopian thriller on track to be the most watched streaming sensation ever.
But its second season was brought so quietly that it didn't even reach the top of the launch day drama charts. Only those who already knew about it were able to watch it. This is the fictional game show that single-handedly revived Netflix, and the game show that became the reason behind multiple deaths. Deaths that no one talks about on the internet even today. Since childhood, Hwang Dong had a dream to present a story to the world that would shake hearts. A story that no eye had ever seen and no ear had ever heard before. At one time, Hwang lived in a small apartment with his mother. Every morning, he used to write small screenplays, and at night, he dreamed big. In the early days of his life, Hwang faced extreme poverty. To pay for university fees, he worked small jobs and kept running after his dreams. The first reward of his hard work came in 2014, when his movie Miss Granny became quite a hit. But Hwang knew this wasn't the reward he truly deserved, or what he really wanted. He knew that the game had just begun, not ended, because his most exciting and oldest written script was still with him. Squid Game. Hwang's Squid Game script was so ahead of its time that the world wasn't ready to understand it back then. And he had written this script in 2009, but no producer was willing to buy it. After 10 years of struggle, Hwang decided that he would lock this script away in a box. But his desperation to sell the script kept pulling him back to that box every single day. He would shake it just to see if the script was still inside. But who knew that this very script would one day shake the entire world? Hwang used to sit all day in a manga cafe, refining his script. Manga cafes are Korean cafes where you can read books from all over the world. Hwang would sit there all day, continuously refining his scripts. His reading taste was very dark and sinister. He liked stories where rich people exploit the poor. These dark stories became the backbone of Squid Game. Squid Game might look like just a game show, but if we look into the details, it's a show that highlights the damages of social hierarchy. It's a show that not only portrays inequality, but also reveals what a desperate person can do for money. In 2018, Netflix decided to go international with its first non-American show, Stranger Things, and its worldwide popularity gave Netflix the idea to expand. So they opened a branch in South Korea. That's where Hwang met Netflix executive Kim Min-young. Squid Game was now official. But before we talk about Squid Game, we first need to talk about the Brothers' House. In the year 1978, it was decided that the 1988 Olympic Games would be held in South Korea. People were very happy about this, but the government didn't like it much, because on the streets of South Korea there were beggars, drug addicts, homeless people, and orphans everywhere. And if the international media saw all this, then South Korea could face sanctions for violating human rights. So the South Korean government at that time decided to create Brothers' Home. On TV, it was advertised as if it was a paradise for poor people, absolutely free. But the real story was no less than a living hell. People had no idea whether what was shown on TV was really a paradise or a horrifying nightmare. The police began kidnapping these people from the streets in white vans, just like it was shown in the real Squid Game. They were taken to such a camp where even children as young as 5 were forced into extremely hard labor. And all this wasn't done by anyone else. It was carried out by the South Korean government itself. The government chose this man as the manager of the place. This man was hitting 2 targets with 1 arrow. With the disappearance of the poor, the streets were getting cleaner, but at the same time, he was keeping all the wages of these helpless people for himself. The heads of the boys were shaved, And each person was given a number, just like in Squid Game. And if any victim didn't do their work properly, they were brutally tortured, to the extent that some were even killed. The most horrifying part was that Mr. Park was also making financial profit from them. The police were involved in this operation, picking up random people from the streets, but only the poor. An investigator named Key Park found this place and exposed it to the media, after which many cases were filed against Mr. Park, and this concentration camp was permanently shut down. But neither was Mr. Park arrested before his death, nor were the victims ever able to forget their traumatic experience. One of the reasons no South Korean was willing to buy this script was because it contained extremely dark and violent scenes, which were banned from South Korean media at that time. But the script eventually made its way to Netflix, because Netflix had no issues with advertisements or any government restrictions. Many people accuse Squid Game of having a storyline and scenes that resembled the 2014 Japanese film As the Gods. Hwang Dong responded to these allegations by saying he had never seen As the Gods Will. He explained that he had developed the concept of Squid Game back in 2009 for the first time, inspired by dark-themed manga books. But he also mentioned that certain visual ideas had indeed been shown in films and shows before. 7th September 2021, the day that shook the world of entertainment. Squid Game was not just a show. It became a cultural phenomenon that shook every corner of the world. Within just 28 days of release, Squid Game broke all records to become the most watched show on Netflix. It was trending in 190 countries, watched by 111 million people, and this 10-year-old script by Hwang Dong generated over 900 million in revenue for Netflix. But along with this cultural wave came a dark side. As people began interpreting the show's themes and challenges in a global context, exploitation and violence began to get normalized. Activists claimed that Squid Game's violent and dark elements were being normalized by mainstream media. Government officials and parents had concerns. Is this kind of content really appropriate for younger generations? But the story wasn't over yet, because just a few days after the show's release, some truths related to it began to surface. The first controversy came when the villain's number was shown in the show. But in reality, that number didn't belong to a villain. It was the real number of a 16-year-old Korean student who began receiving calls from people thinking he was the movie villain, and they started abusing him over the phone. This harsh treatment from the public put a lot of pressure on the student, and he decided to sue the creator of Squid Game. As a result, Netflix had to pay him a large amount of compensation. The final and biggest controversy came when highly credible news sources began claiming that the actor who played number 18 died during the shoot due to heavy workload, after which he was silently replaced. But suspiciously, all those articles started disappearing one by one. No news channel explained why they were removed, and neither did Netflix provide any proof that those reports were false. One possibility is that all these reports were just rumors, and after their falseness was revealed, the articles were removed. Another possibility is that Netflix made a backdoor deal with those sources. Seeing the popularity of Squid Game, the world's biggest YouTuber, MrBeast, decided to team up with Amazon Prime to create a show.
I am standing on $5 million, the grand prize of the most insane competition show you've ever seen. And competing for it are these 1,000 contestants. Are you all ready?
The twist is that in this show, there will be real participants, real money, and a real story. Netflix's misfortune was that they launched Squid Game Season 2 at the same time MrBeast launched his Squid Game. Now you tell me, would users prefer to watch something they've already seen before, something dramatic, or would they prefer something in which everything is real? This is the trend chart showing Netflix's downfall and MrBeast's rise. MrBeast got more viewership than Netflix as shown in front of you, but the story was still Hwang Dong's. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. After all this hard work, do you think you'll leave without subscribing? Hit that subscribe button, hold on your screen and share it with your delicate fingers. Thank you.